Any other questions? We have, for the last 27 years, I personally and my staff serve everyone with the same amount of dignity and respect as anyone else, and we try to help everyone who comes to the doors. Over the last 27 years, we have a reputation of doing so, and we always will. And I also like to add, and I think that you did add this, if you tell me to stop. And I think you mentioned this, and everything that chocolate is important, but I also think that it's important in terms of people who come to the door with limited economic means. Sometimes these are the people who are actually almost ignored totally, and they have the least amount of ability to help themselves. And I think they deserve just as much respect as anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our second question, we'll start with Linda one more time, if you don't mind. As incumbents and or challengers, how can you make your prospective office more welcoming to the LGBT people, people of color, and women?
Okay, first, as far as we have always been welcoming, we don't ask anybody anything about their personal lives whatsoever. And that's always going to be the same. We always treat each other with dignity. I see someone back there right now that reminds me of an example of that as the Clerk of Superior Court, and as anyone in the judicial system, you have a responsibility to treat everyone with in the same way and be fair. But that also means you've got to be impartial. You cannot put your own personal beliefs into how you do your job, and we do not do that. If you look at my staff, I think that you can also see a reflection of that as well. When I first started office, we had one minority supervisor. I have 5 minority supervisors right now, 3 men, one of whom is my chief deputy, 2 Pacific Islanders, and 2 Caucasians. And basically, we've had numerous individuals of same-sex preference, but we only know that because they tell us, and it makes no difference whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. All right, Ms. Harden.
I agree with Linda on what she's saying. I believe that no matter where you work, it is important to treat everyone the same way. As far as employees, I think that we need to treat them with dignity and respect. Also, those who come into the office, I think that they should also be treated with dignity and respect. I have served over 1,000 people in the nonprofit organization that I'm in North Carolina as well as in Georgia. And one of the things that I noticed that in North Carolina, there's more of an acceptance of all people. And then, of course, in Georgia, it might be a little bit challenging, but as far as me and the way I believe, we're going to make sure that we treat everyone the same. I think people that know me they know me as a people's person. I really love people. I really want to help people. Once I'm elected into this office, you will see the results of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hartman. Ms. Hudson.
It is just my mannerism to treat everyone fair. I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. When you come into a municipal court office, I want to embrace you with whatever problem you're having, and I want to be able to serve you with all that municipal court has to offer. And I want to make you feel comfortable and let you know that you are important. And whatever your problem is, it could be solved some way, somehow. So I want to make sure that I will be there and I'll be accountable for just that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, that's the end of the questions. I will now allow each person to give a 30-second closing response. We'll start with Linda Pierce.
Thank you again for allowing me to serve as your Clerk of Superior Court. I'm asking for your vote to serve the next 4 years. The next 4 years will be critical in our county, one way or the other, because we are moving to more modern technology in our court system. We will have to. I have a statewide reputation in court technology, working closely with the Supreme Court, as well as the state bar, and implementing e-filing in the state of Georgia, as well as other technology. I have more knowledge of modern technology than anyone else in our court system, as well as 27 years of knowledge of that mainframe. And I believe I can be of immense help to make sure that we can avoid major pitfalls when we make that transition. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hartman?
Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. When you elect me, you will see my experience of having two churches. We have to operate with technology, making sure that there's Wi-Fi there and other things past the mainframe. So I have great knowledge of how to make sure that our files are kept appropriately and properly because of the 39 years of experience that we've dealt not only with technology, but with administration. Vote for me May 24th. I am a clerk you can count on. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Hudson.
I am the foundation of Municipal Court Office, and I want to transform office procedures with a positive, professional working environment. I want to build trust, confidence, and integrity back into the community, and I want to find ways to utilize the city budget wisely. I am the person for this job. I started at an early age from ground up. I know what it takes to make municipal court to be a better place to serve you and all that we have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, let's give a round of applause for all of our clerk candidates. Thank you so much. All right, our next group of candidates will be our city council candidates. If y'all please make your way to the stage. This is a special one for me. And 4 years ago, I stood up here where these guys are. And we didn't quite make it, but, you know, it is. I have to tip my hat to every person that runs for public office. You put yourself under scrutiny. You put yourself under the line of the fire line. Please, you know, take care of these people. Make sure that you lift them up in your prayers and everything else as they're out here every day marching to make Columbus, Georgia, a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Does anyone else need water? Okay, we will start with Walker Garrett, who will introduce himself for the minute and a half and let you know why they're running. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'll make my main point up front. The reason that you should elect me is because I'm going to listen to everyone in the community. Doesn't matter your sexual orientation, your race, or your gender. I will listen to all of our citizens. I'll show respect to you, and I'll be responsive. It won't just be an ear that listens and nothing gets done. I will be responsive to my citizens and my constituents that I represent. As far as experience and why what I think I can bring to the table, in addition to listening and hearing your concerns, I'm an attorney in everyday life. You don't have to be an attorney to be on city council. But what does that bring to the table? You have to have 6 votes to get anything done on city council. You can't just have your own ideas. It can't be all about me. It has to be what I can convince 6 other people to do and how we can move forward. And sometimes that means finding a compromise, finding a point in the middle where we can meet. I've also been involved with other organizations, charities, Trade Center Board, and with the YP Governmental Affairs Committee. All of those things have allowed me to learn how to manage budgets wisely, to manage other people, and to work with conflicting opinions. In addition to that, being the YP Governmental Affairs Chairman allowed me to work with both sides of the aisle, both political parties. And one of the things I want to do is be an advocate for Columbus, even at the state level. I want to make sure that we maintain a relationship with our state legislators. Thank you, and please vote for Walker Garrett.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
My name is Jonathan Davis, 100% for the people, a citizen of District 8 of Columbus. I'm not a politician. I don't look like one. I don't act like one. I never will be one. I'm here for the people, to listen to people, and to represent people. I'm a Christian. I'm not perfect, but I'm forgiven. I'm a father, a husband. I have 4 children. You know, I can relate with the family. I can relate with the needs of every family in Columbus. You know, I coach Little League Baseball there at Pioneer. You know, I've done that for 5 years now, and bringing a group of boys together as a team is a challenge in the beginning, but we always succeed in the end. I'm a leader and commander at church. I plan and teach a class every week on Wednesday nights at North Island for 4th grade boys. I've been doing that for about 7 years now, 5 to 7 years. I'm also a veteran. That just proves that I'm committed to the people of the United States, and especially Columbus, Georgia. I'm a business owner. I own Sam's Electric. I make 100% decisions in financial and administrative decisions. I understand what decisions need to be made to bring forward a budget, payroll. I know all the administrative needs that needs to be met. And you know, I could have one more title. Vote for me May 24th, and I'll be your District 8 City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Pugh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You don't have to practice far cut down. I just got back off the road from Atlanta. But I told Jeremy once that, I wasn't sure I was going to be here. But I made it back. I am Evelyn Turner Pugh. I lived in Columbus all my life. I served on city council for 28 years. And mayor pro tem for the last 8 years. I'm there because I care. Because I can be a voice for the voiceless. Columbus is a good place to live, work, and play. We've done it for the past 20 years. No one person did anything by himself. We did it collectively. And I will continue to do it collectively. I feel that I can work well with people. We may not agree all the time. We may have some knockdown, drag out conversations. But in the long run, what we do is what's best for the community. That I have done for 28 years, and that I will do it for the next 4 years.
Thank you. Councilor Henderson.
Thank you. This feels like old home week. When I was first elected, I actually sat next to Councilor Pugh. And, I've got black and blue shins still that will show you that we don't always agree. But I tell you, I learned a ton from this lady. Listen, I am Skip Henderson. I've been serving for 19 years. Just one of your 2 at-large citywide councils. We were just we were whispering back and forth saying, what's a politician? This is not politics, folks. This is community service. If you're serving at the local level in government, you are a community servant. I'm from Columbus. This is my home. I've been paying taxes for, I can't say how long, about 40 years. My wife, Karen, and I've been married for 33. We've raised 2 children, put them through the Muskogee County School District. Every day for 19 years, I've been going to work for you. Every day, I use a metaphor from my age group. I've been packing a lunch pail and putting the time. I've traveled this entire city. We've helped build communities. We've helped build some big things, some amazing things. As Evelyn pointed out, I have been blessed, as she has, to work with some incredible leaders in this community, both governmental and non-governmental, to turn this city into what it is today. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve you for the last 19 years. And I ask you for your vote so that I can continue to put my leadership, my knowledge, and my experience to work for them.
Thanks, Councilor. Ms. Reese.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for hosting this forum, and I certainly want to thank also the members of the committee that helped. This forum is about progression. This forum is about growth. And sometimes in order to get there, we have to make some changes. And I want to personally pause and thank you, Mr. Henderson, for your service. You have actually sacrificed a lot for the city, and we're extremely appreciative. But I want to bring to the city a new opportunity, a new way of vision, a new fresh vision, a new growth to take us to the next level. I bring to the city not only my experience working in corporate America and working for the city of Atlanta, where I worked on the mayor show in Franklin and Geico Corporate, but I also have a bachelor's in computer science, a master's in public administration, and a Juris Doctorate. I'm currently licensed to practice law in the state of Florida and the state of Georgia. And I say all this to say, just like this forum today, it's groundbreaking because we're moving forward in Columbus. This wouldn't have happened 5-10 years ago. The things that I was able to see transpire with the city of Atlanta happened because we were brave enough to change leadership. It's okay to embrace a new way of thinking. It's okay to say to the next generation, we now want to hand you the mantle and let you move forward, especially if you have the experience and the qualifications to do that. I do not come with a special agenda. Do not come with any special interest in mind. The people I care about, each and every one of you out there, the parents that I've had the opportunity to work with here in Columbus, with my job every day, working for those who feel disenfranchised, working for those that feel they have no one to speak for them. There are many of you all around this city, and I talk to you every day, and I look forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. All right, let's begin our questions. We'll start with Walker Gary. Last year, the Human Rights Campaign gave Columbus a score of 40 out of 100 for their Municipal Equality Index rating. Atlanta received 100 out of 100. The index rates cities with criteria including relationship with the LGBT community, non-discrimination laws, and municipal services such as appointing an LGBT liaison to the Columbus Police Department, which would increase the score by 10 points. How would you improve the city's rating in the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index?
Thank you, Jeremy. I would improve that rating by making sure that all constituents, and particularly the LGBT community, are heard, are respected, and are listened to. Creating a liaison position, I could work with the police department to accomplish that. Of course, that's within Chief Warren's jurisdiction. But anything we can do to facilitate communication and to make sure that every part of this community, that every person's voice is heard, will be an improvement. And learning from cities like Atlanta, who have done a lot with the HRC rating and have given us a lot of good examples to follow, I take note of that. However, I would also look to what is specific to this community in Columbus. Because we aren't Atlanta, it's not an apples to apples comparison. So I want to hear from each individual. That's why I'll be listening to each of my constituents. You'll have my cell phone number as your point of contact, and I'll constantly be on the lookout for any way I can improve communication between all segments of the population.
Thank you. John?
Well, first of all, I would never tolerate any discrimination regardless of your race, religion, sexual preference, or anything. As a business owner, I've never tolerated discrimination, never have, never will, and if there was an HRC rating for my company, it would be a 100. I'm not sure what we can do, but I can tell you, as Mr. Hobbs, you know that I'm very approachable. You can call me anytime. I'm open here for everybody. I can tell you, on city council, I would not tolerate any discrimination, period. I wouldn't stand for any discriminatory law. I wouldn't stand for anybody getting discriminated against. And I'll do whatever I can to make sure that everybody in the city, all people, regardless of any race, religion, sexual preference, is taken care of.
Thank you. Councilor Pugh.
Thank you. If I'm not mistaken, in our HR regulations, it states that there's no discrimination against that based on age, sex, sexual orientation, or whatever. And I don't know that there has been a problem with that happening. If it is, I have not heard of it. As far as the rating, I'm not sure how they use and come up with a formula, right? And when it talks about having liaison between the LGBT community and the police department, I refer that to the public safety director. And I don't think that would be a problem.
Thank you, Councilor Pugh. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you. I've had sort of a unique opportunity to look through the eyes of a family member who's a member of the gay community. And I love that family member more than I love my own life. And I have seen both overt and covert discrimination throughout this community and others. I don't know the criteria for the rating, but I can tell you that any discrimination, not just against sexual orientation, against anybody because of the way they look, talk, act, or whatever, is an abomination. We would probably have to refer to the Public Safety Advisory Commission to talk about a liaison. But I think it's a dialogue we ought to have. Any kind of increased sensitivity that helps protect the individuals in this community, I'm in favor of having that discussion.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Mr. Reed.
Thank you so much. As I vow to be your citywide city council person, I will take it as a very serious responsibility. But when I received the information from Mr. Dobbs about this forum, I looked up the rating scale. About it right there on the internet. And it's very simple steps that the city of Columbus can take to be in compliance and things that we can do in certain departments, like providing liaisons, making sure that certain policies and procedures are updated to to make sure that we're not discriminating against people. And these are things that cities are adopting all over the country. And if we just want to be fair to folks, if we want to hold true to our, well, especially my Christian principle, I'm a Christian, I believe in a higher God. If we want to hold true to those, then we have to treat everybody fair. And we have to make sure that everyone is in a position to where they receive and will be treated equally. So the index wouldn't be that difficult to implement if we just followed it, but that takes leadership that understands where we're headed as a new generation, as a new society. It takes understanding where we are.
Thank you. If you would mind remain standing, I'll ask the next question. To Mr. Reeves, non-discrimination laws, many of which have been in the laws of several cities in the United States since the 1970s, protect against discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, race, sex, and other factors in the realm of employment, public accommodations, and housing. Currently, Georgia is one of 5 states which has no public accommodations non-discrimination laws at the state level. And Columbus, being the second largest city in Georgia, to not have a non-discrimination law which includes sexual orientation and gender identity. Are you in favor of introducing and or passing a law prohibiting discrimination on these grounds?
Short answer is yes. And as an attorney, I just want to share that we are moving in that direction. We've seen it on a national level where the Supreme Court ruled that the federal government must recognize same-sex marriages and same-sex couples and give them the same benefits as everyone else. But what the Supreme Court is yet to fully say is that that is protected class where someone can actually file suit if something like that happens. Once that transpires, then the extensions of the United States Constitution will put those requirements on the states to follow the same suit. So in short, yes, I support that. Just because just at the inside, I feel that that's what we need.
Thank you. Councilor Henderson.
Well, they're probably making snowballs down in Hades because I agree with my opponent for change. We have been very progressive in Columbus trying to make sure that we keep up with complying with adjudicated law, such as the same-sex marriage issue that was decided in the Supreme Court. Matter of fact, we've already adjusted our benefits platform. Pension and health care is now available to same-sex partners. So I'm not undeterred. I don't know where the loopholes are, but I can tell you if there is a loophole that allows for any kind of discrimination, absolutely I'd be willing to introduce any kind of local ordinance or legislation that outlaws that discrimination.
Thank you, Councilor Henderson. Councilor Pugh.
Like I said, it's tough, it's tough. As I said before, I don't know if there's laws that discriminate, but I have brought it to my attention. I'm willing to listen so that you can come and say something about one of our parents. And I don't have a problem listening to people because that's what we're there for. But at the same token, there are some things we can't do as a city council. And we have to be real careful with what we make a commitment to. We have to follow state and federal law. We cannot supersede those laws.
Thank you, Councilor Pugh.
I think we're all in agreement on this one. And yes, I would want to see everybody have equal rights, equal non-discriminatory laws. All tax-paying citizens need the rights to be able to come to any government facility or public facility. The problem with this world is we focus on the differences in life. We don't focus on similarity. And until that happens, I think we're still going to have discussions about this. We all just need to look together and realize that we're all people. It doesn't matter your color, your ethnicity, your sexual preference, male, female. So, yes, I would be in support of any legislation or ordinance. Non-discriminatory.
As Jonathan said, we are going to be in agreement about this issue. None of us want to tolerate discrimination on any level. There are specific things, too, that other communities in Georgia are doing, like the Fair Employment Practices Act. That's something that I've researched a little bit. It basically adds as a protection based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And when it comes to employment practices, that's the type of law that a lot of communities throughout Georgia have enacted, and we could do the same. That's also something that when I talk about keep open lines of communication with our state legislature. So we can do that in the state. Anything we can do to prevent discrimination is possible, and I'd be fully in support.
Thank you. Our final question is a big hot topic around Columbus right now. We saw it on the news last night. We've been seeing it everywhere all over the country. Transgender and gender nonconforming people are a growing subset of our population. There's been a great deal of negative reaction and even violence against transgender people, especially when it comes to a public accommodation such as restrooms. However, this negative reaction has in turn sparked a nationwide conversation on sex segregation of restrooms and the need for more gender-neutral spaces. Should gender-neutral restrooms be more available in public buildings? We'll start with Laura.
Absolutely. There's nothing to be lost by having more gender-neutral restrooms because, one, it's good for minorities, a transgender person who might want to use that restroom, but then it's also good for family members. There's a lot of issues, with whether or not you take your child into a restroom and which restroom you take. Having more gender-neutral family-style restrooms provides privacy that people might want, and it also provides comfort if you feel like you might be discriminated against. I would absolutely be in favor of instituting.
Thank you. John?
First of all, I can tell you I absolutely hate public bathrooms. I avoid them any chance I can, especially with my children. They like to touch everything. Traveling with the Army and with family, I've noticed all over the country you see a lot of diversity in things. We see family restrooms, what they call, especially in airports. I think that's something that needs to trend, and we need to start focusing on that. Maybe family restrooms, one stall, go in and get taken care of. I can tell you, as a father of two girls, I would have loved to have that when they were younger because it's awkward. I don't know which one to go into. I want to take them in the men's restroom because it's pretty nasty, and I'm not going to go into the women's restroom. But yeah, I think family restrooms would be the common sense approach to take.
Thank you. Councilor Pugh.
And yes, when you look at one aspect of it, family restrooms is like that. I don't know that we need to necessarily build additional restrooms, but convert some of the ones we have. Because as we learned recently, it's expensive building restrooms. If you go to a restroom dressed, the way that restroom says on that door on the outside. Mm-hmm. So, family restrooms may be way down.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you. We were just having a conversation, but I don't know if they want us to build another restroom. By the way, just for the record, we only paid $40,000 of it. There has been a lot of discussion recently, and I think there needs to be more. Mr. Garrett actually took what I was going to bring up, and that is that we've seen examples in airports where there are family restrooms. Yes, I would support an additional restroom for multiple abuses, not just transgender individuals, but as he stated, also for families. I too had a daughter. She is 30 now, so thankfully she can go to the restroom on her own. But when she was young, it did present challenges. So yeah, I think it's worth a discussion. I don't think we ought to build new ones, but I do think we ought to try to make some of them better.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Ms. Reed.
Well, I'm very excited I came out because I learned a little bit as a guy that's expecting my first child and a daughter in August. My wife and I thank you for the information, Candidate Davis, and I will certainly look out for the touching. As we talk about restrooms and gender-neutral restrooms, to me this brings up a bigger issue, and that's the willingness of a country to transition and change with the times. It wasn't long we were looking at 4 separate restrooms where African Americans had that would go to their own restrooms, but the country decided that we could come together and we could address this issue and we could treat people equally. This is another question of treating people equally, and we should take the necessary steps. Be wise about it, but get it done. And that's where people who don't agree all the time come together and say, hey, we may disagree, but we can find a common ground and we can get it done. And that's where leadership comes in, and that's the type of leadership that I will provide on City Council as your citywide City Council.
Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, madam, I'll start with Mark. Garrett, you give your final 30-second closing statement, and you make it.
Thank y'all for having me here tonight. The main point I want you to get across is that you will be heard. Everyone in this room, doesn't matter who you are or what your sexual orientation is, it simply does not matter. You are one of my citizens and one of my constituents that I will represent. I'm going to look to you for solutions. I'm going to look to you for the issues. I'm going to look to you for what we can do to make this community better for everyone involved. I just ask for your vote on May 24th, and I ask that you allow me to be elected so I can listen to you.
Thank you. John?
As I stated in my opening, I have a wide range and a very diverse in my experience in personal life as well as career. I've worked minimum wage jobs, and I've worked multiple jobs at a time. And to work my way up from nothing to now a successful business owner, I understand 99% of the people. I can represent 99% of the people here in Columbus. I've been there in difficult times. I've been there in good times and everything in between.
Thank you. Councilor Pugh.
Thank you. Again, thank you for inviting us out tonight. And I ask you, when you go to the polls, or when you tell your friends when they go to the polls, on May 24th, or early voting, vote, I want to turn to you. She's been there for you. She will be there for you then.
Thank you. Councilor Edison.
Jeremy, thank you and the organization for putting this on. We appreciate the opportunity to converse with the folks in the audience. My opponent's right. This is about change. It's about the promised change of somebody seeking the seat. It's about the proven, progressive, consistent change that I have helped shape for the last 19 years. I'm asking you on May 24th to vote for me and allow me 4 more years of continuing that positive change.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, and I want to say that my opponent is absolutely correct. Use the last 19 years as a measuring stick, and be honest with yourself. Elections shouldn't be about hate. It shouldn't be about divisiveness. It shouldn't be about where you live in the city. Elections should be about who is the best person to represent the city moving forward, and who is fair to everyone, and who is placing himself in the position to hear everyone's concerns. And you get to make that determination. Starting May 2nd, early voting Monday, and on May 24th, you get to go to that poll and say, I agree with where we are, or I want to move in a new direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give our city council candidates a big round of applause. Okay, we'll now call, after we get let's get down, all our school board candidates. Come on down. The next contestants on Colgay Pride is right. I know we had a lot of people that were not able to attend on the school board side today. I do hope that they will enter the questions. And remember that everybody has already been submitted the questions that are for this forum. So when they send them to me, you can find them on our Facebook page, colgaypride.org. Well, okay, so everybody get those mics? Okay. All right, let's begin with our minute-and-a-half opening statement. We'll start with AJ.
Good evening, and thank you for the invitation. My name is Athavia AJ Senior. I am born and raised native of Columbus, Georgia. I am a graduate of Carver High School. I am also a graduate of Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina, with a degree in education. I retired from the U.S. Postal Service after 27 and a half years. As postmaster, my last assignment was in Midland, Georgia. I'm asking for your vote for re-election for District 3 so that we may continue the momentum of educating our students as we are now. We have implemented new reading and math programs. Our graduation rate has increased by 3.8%. We've gone out into the community and retrieved the community. I've also supported my schools, Pretty Brown Girls. I did a book bag drive back in the fall where I gave away 300 school supplies and book bags to the students in District 3. So I am an avid supporter of our schools and the education and getting our students to be productive individual adults. Again, AJ Senior, District 3, still delivering.
Thank you. I'll flip that switch up too whenever you start. Sorry.
I'm Lori Marvez. I graduated from Hardaway High School. I then graduated from Southeastern Academy, and I have been married for the past 35 years to John Marvez. We have a business together called John Paul Jewelers, and I will never get to retire. I have 6 children, and the youngest of my children is now attending high school, and out of my 4 grandchildren, my first one just started kindergarten. I have a very vested interest in the school system because it affects my children and grandchildren personally. And I think that that gives me the upper edge for District 7 because the policies and the decisions that we make as a board, I get to see the outcome on a daily basis with my child. I was previously on the board. I've been a PTA president, treasurer, whatever is needed at the school. I took my income that I made on the board and used it through the Rose Hill Alternative Program. They built tables for each one of my schools, and I was able to put several picnic tables into my schools, and I attended my schools and did programs with my school, and I think that is one of the biggest things, is to communicate with your schools, people in your schools, to show that the decisions you made, to explain it, to have cooperation back and forth. And with your vote, I would like to be the candidate for District 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams.
Hello. I think everybody in this room knows everybody up here because this is like our 408th forum that we've done, and we can start giving a speech for each other. But I am Kathy Williams. I am a candidate for District 7 School Board. I served you on your school board for 8 years as the at-large representative, 2 of those years as the board president. We have magic happen in our classrooms every single day. We have an outstanding district. We have challenges because we're considered a large urban district. Size-wise, we're in the top 10% threshold in the country. And so we have to look at our entire district. Each representative must look at the entire district as theirs. So even though this time I'm running for a district representative, where before I was at large, I will treat that role as representing all the schools again. What we have happening in this district is really quite extraordinary. We've seen our graduation rate up, our test scores are going up, our out-of-school suspensions are going down, our truancy and lateness is going down. We're seeing our reading and our math scores going up. We're seeing schools come off of the opportunity school list. We have so much to celebrate in Muskogee County, and I would like to once again be part of that. District 7, Kathy Williams.
Thank you. And we have a Pat for a Pat today. Patricia Lassiter will be standing in for Pat Green. Go ahead.
Thank you. And no, she didn't pick me just because we shared the same first name. Pat Green has been with us on the school board. We've been honored to have her since 2004. And she is sort of in the middle of this great experiment that we're doing right now, which is making Muskogee County schools great, fantastic, the best they ever have. We want her to continue doing this job. She listens. Not only did she study the questions and send in answers, but she worked with Dr. Butler, who was the chief of student services, to make sure that she could learn as much as she could about it. And then she also asked me, not because my name is Patricia like hers, but because this is an LGBT forum, and I am the LGBTQ member and district member of the state Democratic Party. I sort of know what I'm talking about, and Pat listens. And so when she needs to understand start voting May 2nd.
Thank you, Patricia. All right, we'll begin with AJ with the first question. Zero tolerance for bullying in the school district does not seem to be working for all students, particularly LGBT students. Many attacks or incidents go unreported. Programs designed to counterattack bullying and harassment, like the Welcoming Schools program from HRC, which teaches diversity at grade levels K through 6, has made leaps and bounds because they understand to stop bullying behaviors and the harassment associated of other students, it should start from day one. What has your district done, or what will you do, if elected or re-elected, to address harassment, bullying, and intimidation of students?
First, I'd like to start out by stating that it is very unfortunate to attend the school or any function where you are feeling bullied or unwanted. The first thing is to report. It says to go, that a lot of the bullying goes unreported. It needs to be reported to the proper authorities, your principal, your parents. Then we can investigate. And this is what the district does. And then we investigate, and after that, the investigation, and then we look at what consequences or what steps we will take after that. I do agree with the Welcoming School program to educate our students young. I'll give you an example. Kids do know already about LGBT. I watch a lot of General Hospital. I'm retired, and I'm watching it with my 7-year-old nephew a couple years ago. They did a segment on same-sex relationships. I didn't know whether to do this or what. And I was going, no, he turned to me. He says, hi, I know. And so our children are aware. We just need to educate them and let them know that all people are different. We have different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different interests. Bullying should not be accepted.
Okay. Marvin.
When I was on the board previously, we initiated a program on bullying that we then took throughout the schools. We had an individual that made it her goal to alleviate bullying. And so she had a wonderful program that we allowed her to take through each one of the schools. But on a personal note, I think it starts with us ourselves. I think our own behavior is a great example to everybody in the community. If we cannot, as a board member, talk civilly or kindly to another board member or act in a disgraceful way, how can we expect our children in our schools to be better than we are? So it will start personally with me. I think that we can disagree on an item, but we can do it very respectfully.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
Noreen, amen. You're going to hear a lot of the same thing from all of us because we are all very much like-minded. Zero tolerance for bullying. Zero tolerance for bullying in our schools or on our school board. We do sensitivity training. We try very hard to ensure that in every one of our schools, our teachers and administrators are trained on how to react to bullying, how to discipline bullying. There is a very strict process in place, but it has to be reported. The senior is right. It has to be reported. I tell my husband that, I want to do a lot of the things he wants to do, but I can't read minds, so you have to tell me. It's the same thing in our schools. Our administrators and our teachers can't read the mind. They might be able to read body language a little bit, but when you have 28 kids in your classroom, we need to teach our kids to report it. It is not wrong to report bullying. It is absolutely the right thing to do.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. The truth?
Pat's answer is pretty much the same. It's pretty much just the concern is valid, and we appreciate it as the language in our handbook and code of conduct is being changed to reflect the diversity of our population. And she includes the LGBT population because it's a welcome part of our district. And those are a direct quote. And she says the annual training for the staff and faculty and the 5 additional training sessions for all students will include language more specific to this growing concern. Now, then she talks about handbooks and all that, but at the end she says, we encourage each parent to use the chain of command to resolve concerns. By doing so, they will solve the problems at the lowest level and inform school leaders that more training was needed, and thereby making us all better. And that the
All right, our second question. If a student identifies as other gendered from his or her biological sex, what should the school do regarding the student's identity? And what accommodations can be made for the student to succeed? We'll start with AJ.
The first thing I think will be pretty simple. We will meet with the parents and the student to see and make sure we can accommodate them and make sure that their educational experience is a comfortable and productive one. As for the district, I believe we're going to wait for the state and Title IX to comply with the state on their decision, and we will be enforcing whatever the state decides.
Muskogee County has to comply with all of the state and federal guidelines and their laws. That is just what they will do. But on the personal note, for being in the schools over and over as a parent with 6 children, I can tell you that the schools are very caring. They have a great group of people there that I think would care for each child in the way that they need to be cared for and be comfortable.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
I agree with everything that's said. I will add that one component of this administration that I've really appreciated watching is that they will get down to the child level, each individual child, to determine what success looks like for that child and how to get them there. And this is one of those issues. This is not new to this district. We've had transgender children in our system for years. And what we do is we meet with the family, we meet with the student, we meet with the teachers, and we determine what that student needs to be comfortable and successful. And I just see that continuing.
Pat says that echoing what everyone else has said, the MCSD, Muskogee County School District, will and does follow the federal and state laws that offer protection against any and all discrimination. The council and staff has been extremely supportive and accommodating in the cases that I know of. But also, when it takes a while for laws to come down, and so while kids are getting bullied, they can't sit around and say, well, in 2 years, the law's going to come down and help me. We need to help people now, and being the listener that Pat is, she's open to hearing what parents have to say, taking what parents have to say after they've listened to their children, taking it to the students, taking it to the principals, taking it all the way up to David Lewis, and making sure that the combinations that happen for the entire community. And so, once again, we're all agreeing, but let's not wait until the state laws come in. Let's treat every single person the way you would treat your own child every single day.
Thank you. Well, keep hold of that mic, and I'll ask the next question. Every school district has children who have LGBT parents. Studies show that parent involvement enhances academic performance, but many LGBT parents and guardians feel unwelcome. What can schools do to encourage their involvement, and what are the major problems facing these students and their families in relation to the school system?
Well, Pat says the communication, of course, is the answer. And by that, she means that she must let all parents know that the parents know that we embrace diversity, and that includes the LGBT community. A lot of times, kids will get it, and the parents, are one step removed from school. And as a parent, you go in, the seats are small, for goodness sakes. It's already tough. So make sure that there is a back and forth relationship between parents and the teachers and the all the way up to the superintendent. Because we will not discriminate against parents nor students, nor will we tolerate any kind of behavior that discriminates against them. And that's what Pat believes. And once again, it's an easy situation. It's an easy solution as long as we do it together and make sure that we do it every day.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
Every child, every parent should feel welcome in every school and every classroom. And I think that universally, throughout our district, everybody believes that. If a teacher is not welcoming to a same-sex family, then that's a problem for me. I mean, that's discrimination in and of itself. And discrimination should not be tolerated in our district in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the parents of our children. So, I would work aggressively aggressively with the administration to determine where there's a breakdown in that relationship between those parents and whoever they feel has not been welcoming to them.
Ms. Corbett.
I'm a mother of 6 children, and I have about 4 years between each one. And so this has given me a very long time that I have spent in public education. I have to say, when my first children were there, we could walk into the classroom at any time. Then it started where we had to sign in, and now there's a locked door between me and my child. And in a lot of ways, that makes me feel not welcome. But it's also for the protection of our children. So we've got to weigh these things. But to feel welcome is sometimes teachers work very well with small children, but not big adults. And so for the adult in all of us, I have never found that a teacher has denied me coming in and saying, what can I do to help you? Can I come this day, this hour? What can I do to help you? And I think that is communicating with your teacher will help with that feeling of being welcome. Even if you can't go help, you can say, can I cut something out at home? There's always a way to communicate with the school.
Thank you. Ms. Singh.
I'm not going to just address the LGBT parents. This goes out to all parents. All parents should feel welcome attending the school. I do know HR has conducted some customer service training for the staff and the employees of the district on how to be more polite and service the students and the parents. But parents should feel welcome. There's PTA. Come to PTA. You feel very welcome. Come to some of the school activities. Again, you'll feel very welcome. Make a conference with your teacher and the principal, and I assure you, you will be welcome. So this is to all parents, not to discriminate against any, but all parents should feel welcome to attend their child's school for any event, for any purpose. And also, approach your teacher and your principal about any concerns you have. But we want everyone to feel welcome in this district, and I believe they do. I've gone to some of the functions, met with some of the parents, and I just encourage you to come out, feel welcome, and blend in and join the crowd.
If you were saying the mic, we're going to ask the next question. HIV has infected millions worldwide. 56,000 newly infected here in the country every year. Gay men disproportionately make up 76% of all United States infections, and age groups 13 to 17 have a high number of infections right here in Georgia. Currently, Muskogee County teaches abstinence only through sex education, and even has instructors, or even one of our students is here today, who demonizes gay men in their teaching. If elected or re-elected, are you in favor of changing our sex education curriculum to include usage of condoms?
No. We are teaching abstinence. That is the best protection for any intimate activity. And to allow condoms would be kind of a little bit indecisive. You're saying, okay, we're teaching abstinence, but just in case, here's a condom. No. Abstinence, we need to stick with that. It keeps our kids safe from pregnancies, STDs, other mistakes. So, no, I'm not in favor of bringing condoms into the school. That is something personal and should be handled in another environment.
Thank you. Ms. Barnett.
I was personally on the sex ed committee for 15 years, in which a group of parents, a school board member picked different parents to come onto the board. I have to tell you that I am totally in favor of abstinence, only because in this group of teenagers we have those that think they are so invincible at this age. They don't understand that 85% means it could happen to you. I do believe in a little bit more maturity, and this discussion should be held at home. I personally, with my mother who's now deceased, she worked in the laboratory that did testing against viruses, and they were hired at one point to do for condoms, which did not stand up to the HIV virus. I realized that was several years ago, and it could have improved. So I went out and
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
I think abstinence education is fine. I don't think it's realistic as being the end all be all. I think our kids, especially our teens, are going to experiment. They're doing it. We know they're doing it. They're having kids. Okay, so I am in favor of education that is a little more broad than abstinence. We should be arming our students with information. Information is power. If we're not participating in informing our students what is safe, what is not only preventative, then we're doing a disservice to them. So I would support broadening our education.
Thank you. Patricia?
I'm reading the answer, and it says, I'm aware of the statistics which drives my concern in conversations that I have with any conversation that I have with my relatives, gay or not, is to not have unprotected sex. However, I believe that specific discussion is personal and should be had in the home or with family. That is her answer. As a District 1 school board member and being a listener, I would just say that she needs to be a listener on that one and maybe consider something besides abstinence-only education, because as Kathy said, it does not really work. And we have statistics behind it, and being the listener that she is, I know that she will listen to what we have to say and probably make a better decision.
Thank you very much. All right, our final question to you. Suppose a group of students want to form a gay-straight alliance. This will be directed to Patricia at first. And their principal denies the application, fearing it will be too controversial. The students contact you. What will you do? And what should the district administration do to encourage all schools to adopt LGBT student groups?
Her answer is the Gay-Straight Alliance is not new to the district and goes through a standard process to be approved by the principal. Principals will not disapprove clubs unless the club's goals, objectives, or its definition create a non-productive, hostile, or unsafe environment. Those words really suffice as long as they are followed and everything is enforced. And what you do to enforce it is to have policy. You have policy that has recriminations if you do discriminate. And so her answer is absolutely 100% correct as long as it is enforced.
Ms. Williams?
Patricia pretty much covered this from a policy perspective. It isn't new. We have several chapters in our schools right now. And for the most part, they've been very embraced. So I don't think it's an issue. As she said, we have requirements to set up a chapter. Again, it can't be something that would incite violence, but if it's a legitimate chapter and they have their bylaws and everything's dressed, the principal cannot deny it. So, it would come straight to the administration if that was the case. So I don't really see it as an issue in this district.
Thank you. Ms. Barnett?
The board has one employee, that is the superintendent, and I do believe while I was on the board, there were groups that were set up. It was not an issue. And if it is, we have a great man that can address that. Thank
you. Ms. Dean?
Again, it's pretty much still, as long as the group have guidelines, like was stated, bylaws, as long as they follow the rules, as long as there's a faculty or an adult to sponsor the group and all the factors in place, there's no problem with the group being established.
Thank you very much. All right, you may remain standing. It's time for your 30-second closing remarks.
Again, I'm Athavia H.A. Senior. I'm asking for re-election as your District 3 representative with the Muscogee County School Board. I ask for your support so that we may keep up the momentum of increasing our graduation rate, increasing our learning skills in math and reading, increasing and retrieving our dropouts in the community of Columbus, and producing productive and responsible young adults. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Marbeth?
I'm Maureen Marbeth, and it's for my kids and yours that I am running again. I would like your support, realizing that I am a person of service. I continue to give service to children. For the past 20 years, I have been an early morning teacher to children of our faith. that are in high school. Sundays I do the nursery. Children are ever before me. It is my passion, it's my love, it's what I desire to do with my life, and serving on the school board would be an extension of that which I already do.
Thank you. Ms. Williams.
Thank you again for the invitation, Jeremy. My name is Kathy Williams. I'm running for District 7 to return to your school board. I love this community. I absolutely love this community, and I want to be the Paul Harvey on your board. So every time you hear that rhetoric, that negative rhetoric being spewed, I want to say, now let me tell you the rest of the story. Because magic does happen in every classroom throughout this district. And I want to join a very dynamic team and administration once again to continue the success that we've started. Thank you. Please vote starting May 2nd.
Thank you. Pat for Pat.
Vote for Pat Higley Green starting May 2nd because we need a strong voice. We've had, the last 2 years, we've had a lot of dissension on our school board, and she has continued to stand up against it. And school boards are made to come to consensus for the sake of the children. And a lot of times we've not been able to get that far because we've had too much obstructionism. Pat is a very, very strong voice, not only with her opinions, but she listens to the opinions of others. Vote for her because we need her to continue and make this school.
And to see some of the changes that needed to be done before I became sheriff. So I stand before you now as a person that has ran for office twice and been, like I said, fortunate to be elected twice and run on certain platforms and concerns. And not be one that says, hey, give me 4 more years to come through and follow up on these platforms and concerns. I said I was going to be a sheriff and have a sheriff's office that was going to be involved in this community that we are. We're out here involved with the autism community, the Alzheimer's community. People know that we're out here involved with at-risk kids, with Mr. Buck, we're Turnaround Columbus. We're very active with our partners in education at MLK Elementary. I wanted to bring technology-type things to the sheriff's office, which we did, from these apps that you see that you can put on your phone that's been beneficial to solve some of the issues and crime that we have in Columbus, and also be able to make it easier for people to see on the website their individuals that are charged with. Basically, like I said, because I know it's about to be, my time's up, I'm not standing here before you asking you to give me 4 more years, like I said, to do the things I said. I'm asking you to give me 4 more years in your vote to continue doing the great things that we're doing in the sheriff's office and here in the community.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. I want to thank the Jeremy Hobbs and the Colgay community for allowing me to come here today. I'm your marshal. I'm a marshal-bred countryman. It is an honor and a distinct privilege for me to stand here to serve as your marshal and tell you a little something about me. I have 26 years of public safety experience. I started out in the Columbus Housing Authority Police Department, and I went to the sheriff's office there. I worked in the court division, fugitive division, field services, jail division, and I moved on to run for marshal. Running for marshal and being marshal is a ministry to me. I try to be more than your typical marshal that you see. I try to be a community friend and a friend to this community. If you go to my website or you go to my Facebook page, everything that you see that I have done in office has been 110% about the people. I try to be more than a marshal. I believe in working with our children because I believe that our children are our future. And if we can work with them to empower the next generation, that's what we need to do by implementing programs to help reduce crime. Thank you.
Thank you. If you will retain the mic, then I'll ask the first question. You have 1 minute to respond. The alleged sexual assaults against Ashley Diamond, a transgender woman of color who was incarcerated in a men's state prison despite years of taking hormones, and her subsequent release from prison after winning a judgment faulting the state for violating her civil rights as a prisoner, demonstrate how LGBT prisoners often face harrowing extrajudicial circumstances in prison. As law enforcement leaders, what should the role of law enforcement be in regards to treating prisoners or suspects with dignity regarding their sexual orientation or gender identity?
That is a great question, but it's hard to answer that question within 1 minute. I believe in leading from the front. I'm the first in public safety in Muskogee County to teach my personnel on fair and impartial policing. And what this does is that it helps us to recognize that we all have some type of a bias, whether it is implicit or explicit bias. Those are the things that get us in trouble. And I think that everyone should be treated with respect, but as far as public safety, in order for us to deal with any part of the community, we must be able to work with everybody in the community, because as marshal, I've always said that I'm everybody's marshal. I don't see color, I don't see gender, I don't care what area code you live in, zip code you live in. I'm everybody's marshal, and I believe that everybody should be treated with dignity, but in public safety, it all starts with training and philosophy.
Thank you. Sheriff Norris?
I agree with Marshal Countryman. I think that it does start at the top. I think that's what you got to lead. You got to set the example for your agency, and I think I have as far as a lot of these issues. You're right. That's one of the biggest concerns for not only, let's say, the LGBT community, but anybody that gets incarcerated for your family members, and you should. That should be a concern. Not only how they're treated, but how they go through the criminal justice system. And that's one of the things that we do have a lot of problems with sometimes. And I think how you do it from the top, you kind of set that tone not only for your agency, but how things are going to be done within your agency. And I think if you continue with that mindset that we have, that I think people feel comfortable. I think as a sheriff, as you know, and a lot of the individuals in this room can tell you that I've been very supportive of the LGBT community. And I think they get to have people, not only them, but everybody in our community has to feel like they have a voice to be heard by the sheriff's office, and you do, I can tell you that.
Thank you. Mr. LaJoy?
Well, I faced diversity for the 36 years of my military career. And as you well know, as a first sergeant, I've had to deal with those same issues many times. So I embrace any kind of standards, and I have to agree with the other two speakers. The bottom line is it does come from the top. It's leadership, and it's a change in leadership, and that's what we desperately need. We need people thinking along the lines of diversity and fairness. The Ashley Diamond incident was a horrible incident. I did some research on there, and I've been researching Staying with the Light of LGBT Prisoners, which is an extremely good book. I'm educating myself more and more on the issues. But again, this is something that starts from the leadership and it works its way down. I will tell you this, the second part of this answer is that I will make sure my deputies have the diversity training, and that's part of their in-service training every year. I don't have the answers, but I will bring in experts, maybe Jeremy or somebody out here in the LGBT community that can help us and do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Tompkins?
Sound like a broken record. We all agree that leadership begins at the top, and how you carry yourself as the leader and the things that you value as the leader, your people will see in you. I can tell you from personal experience from working in the county jail as a squad commander, we did deal with LGBT people, and our way of treating them was with dignity and respect and privacy, if need be, and always ensuring the utmost for their safety in an incarceration. So, again, we can always use more training in the issues of diversity. We can always use more training in the issues of these issues, and we may need to reach out to the community that has a little more special knowledge if we are facing a situation. But again, it starts at the top, and I think when your people see it in you, they will follow.
Thank you very much. You can retain the mic if you will. We've already talked about the HRC's Equality Index score and having a liaison with the Columbus Police Department. Right now, the Muskogee County Sheriff's Department or the Marshal's Department does not currently have an LGBT liaison. An LGBT liaison officer can be found in the police departments of most major cities, including New York City, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, and Dallas. They have helped law enforcement to be more proactive on perceived injustices affecting or targeting LGBT residents, and help their departments be more sensitive to the needs of LGBT residents. As sheriff and or marshal, will the installation of an LGBT liaison officer be among your priorities? Ms. Tompkins?
First, I'd like to say that I don't believe the Columbus Police Department has one either here locally, and I do believe we do have a Public Safety Advisory Commission that I think you sit on, sir. So certainly we could reach out to that community and on issues regarding LGBT, and I would certainly, as your sheriff, be willing to do that. But to establish a complete different thing, I don't know that we could do that, because once we do that, then we need to reach out to the Asian community, the Hispanic community, all of the different whatever. I think the answer is we treat everyone with dignity and respect. I think I've heard that about 100 times here tonight. But certainly if there's a specific issue that we need to reach out into the community for, we can do that. And also perhaps the public safety advisory.
Thank you. Mr. LaJoy?
Well, I've carefully crafted a letter out on my letterhead as Sheriff LaJoy. We did that today in collaboration with my son. I think it's extremely important we have a liaison in every effort, in every department. I worked in the Columbus Police Department for about 13 and a half years. This is a very sensitive subject among law enforcement, and this is something we have to approach very carefully. But in that letter, what I had crafted to the employees is that if anybody wanted to come out and be a liaison for the LGBT community and work in that effort, that I applaud that if it happens. If we can't, then we have to look at the budget. We have to look at the issues and see if we can hire somebody to fulfill that position. I think it's time, and it's time the time is in need for now to have that done. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Darn?
I thought it was a great question when I was reading that, Jeremy, and how I thought about that was this. I would like to see a representative or a liaison from just law enforcement in general to the LGBT community, but not only the LGBT community, but any other segment of our community that feels like they're not being heard or they don't have a voice. And we're talking about the LGBT community, we're talking about the Hispanic community, or any other group that feels like they're not being heard from the law enforcement perspective side of it. So I would like to see a liaison that maybe represents the entire public safety, reach out to not only them but the other segments. I think that could be doable from a budgetary standpoint.
Thank you. Marshal Countryman?
This is a subject that needs more than 1 minute response. I have 20 deputies that work within the Muscogee County Marshal's office. I have 20 people that are that can represent me in that area. I've talked to Sheriff Darn. We've had a number of conversations in my office, and I can remember one conversation that I was talking to him about, well, why is it that when there's a problem in the African American community that we have to send African American, that we should be able to send a white deputy, Hispanic, or male or female. That's what happens when you have proper training. You can go to any marshal deputy, anywhere, and ask him what's the marshal's philosophy on a certain issue. And I didn't say anything to him. The philosophy starts from the top and it's filtered down to the bottom. I inspect what I expect, and they know exactly how to represent me in the community. We don't have these type of issues. We have 20 people doing the same thing. We have to go out and talk to 3 citizens every single day. They have to come back and write that down on their daily. That's why we connect to the community so well. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question, if you retain. The current budget for the Sheriff's and Marshal's Department has become involved in one of several controversial lawsuits against the consolidated government. However, in many cases of similar fights over municipal budgets, the needs of residents often fall through the cracks as a result. To ensure this does not happen, tell us what your budget concerns and tell us what are your budget concerns and priorities, and how will you fix the problems at hand.
I wish that I had more than 1 minute. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and disinformation that is out there. What you are reading in the paper is not what's going on. If you want to find out, please come to the office folder. My budget has dropped. And part of the process, what is going on now, we are going through a civil court, which is a court of remedies. Once you've done everything that you can do, a civil court is the last place you go. If a person is getting a divorce, they try to go through mediation, they try to go through counseling, and then they finally go through the divorce. But my budget, for instance, gasoline 2 years ago was at $68,000. It's at $28,000 for this year. How do I do my job? This year's budget, I'm at the point of either having to lay someone off or either unite different line items to just fund one deputy. This is an issue, and we have a sales tax for that. We shouldn't have an issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Darn?
Well, the mayor said thought he needed a minute. I would need a whole lot. He's correct. There's been a lot of misinformation that's been placed out there, and that's unfortunate. But what you have within the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office is you have an issue that
Positions. It's extremely important that we work this budget out. Because if we ask for 4 more years of the same, we're going to have the same last 4 years of the same. So my point to you is this is an extremely important leadership position. We can create that budget. We're going to create that budget reduction, and we're going to provide the leadership that needs to be out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tompkins.
Budget priorities. The mission of the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office and the focus is threefold. We run a county jail, and we serve the superior courts of this county and the courts of this county. I'm sorry, I'm blanked out. We have a very specific mission. We have 546 centers. So the truth of the matter is we have a $27.6 million budget. This is not $1 million or $2 million budget. If the answers were easy, I could stand here and tell them to you in 1 minute, but I cannot. What I can tell you is we do have those medical contracts. We do have those pharmacy contracts. We need to be looking at those and finding every penny that we can keep for this community and do our mission within this budget. Again, what we need to do is build and not barricades between city council and the sheriff's office. And that's what I'm going to bring to the table, ladies and gentlemen, is building those bridges.
If you will keep the mic and go ahead and finish up your 30 seconds statement. Thank you.
Thank you again for having us here. I really do appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak to you. I've heard so many people talk about vision, and I have a vision for the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office. I think that we need to return to being the credible community partner. We have done a lot of great things in the community. That is a fact. But we need to begin at our own house and get our own house in order, and that's what I will do. We need structure, we need focus, we need to be mission focused. We need to build bridges between members of council and this sheriff's office. That's what I'll bring to the table. Vote for me May 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joy.
You're about to embark on the most important vote, in Muskogee County history, and that's selecting new leadership for the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office. We can actually provide that leadership. I'm just not a sayer, I'm a doer. I've done it. I've managed budgets in excess of $10.5 million in the military. I worked in the police department. I spent 13 and a half years in just about every I worked with the sheriff's office on task force. I think it's extremely important that we build a bridge between the community, as Ms. Tompkins stated earlier. It's extremely important that we manage our budget and manage it properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sheriff Carr.
He's right, leadership. Leadership is getting things done, making this community better, which I have since I've been sheriff. Leadership is making the sheriff's office better, which we have. Like I said, there's a number of people in this community, this room here today, that can tell you the number of things that we've done within the sheriff's office at the county jail that's making a big difference in those individuals down there. We don't have the mindset of just incarcerate them and then release them back into this community. What I'm asking for is your vote to continue the great things that we're doing, not only out here in this community, but within the sheriff's office. Thank you.
Thank you. Marshal Countryman.
I have built bridges, but I have built bridges from the marshal's office to the community because I work for you, the citizens. This race for marshal boils down to 3 things: proven leadership, proven experience, and proven results. I'm the only person in this race that has done all 3. I'm asking for your prayers, and I'm asking for your vote, and I'm asking when you go to the polls, vote for Marshal Ray Countryman to renew my contract for another 4 years. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it for our Marshal and Sheriff candidate. I want to thank all of our candidates today. Let's give everyone that was here today a big round of applause. The civility was top notch. Thank you all. Please don't forget to get one of our flyers over here. Our LGBT Pride is going to be June 4th. We would love for you to attend. We'd also even love for you to sponsor. So give us a call. I'll take care of it. Thank you so much for coming out. God bless you all. Good night.